Chest up, shoulders back. Welcome to Revival Wrestling, everybody, where I have better wrestling takes than you, and you know it. And we're going to talk about the new World Heavyweight Champion, Seth Rollins, who I am a fan of, all right? You know, and whenever you make these type of videos, you can't question or criticize anybody at all, or else everybody thinks, oh, hating, oh, it's like, dude, we're just talking here, guys, okay? But we're at the point now where he's been a multi-time champion, I think pretty much every title imaginable, Grand Slam, all that stuff. So he's got a great resume, right? Realistically, though, can we admit that this new World Heavyweight Championship reign has been kind of blah? I mean, it hasn't been bad. You know what I mean? It's just been very kind of just lackluster. Like, I'll tell you this, man. Whenever Seth comes on TV now, if I'm able to watch Raw, I'm not compelled to keep watching. Like, I'm not sitting at home working and then I'm like, oh, Seth is on and I have to find something. I'm not like that with him now. I don't even really watch the YouTube segments because, I mean, guys, for the past number of months, this is what really gets me about him, man. That freaking song, dude. And I'm sure some of you guys like it. It seems like with the live crowds, it's sort of dying now because it's definitely ran its course. But beyond the song, does he have anything in terms of this gimmick? Besides him standing there and, you know, looking, you know, like that and all the crowd, oh, chanting with him. What is his gimmick? He doesn't have anything. I mean, what? He's like the visionary, the revolutionary. Then you can say of what? There's no answer for that. What is he the visionary of? Like, there's nothing. At least a couple years ago, you know, we had what, the Authors of Pain, or those two big guys that they ended up releasing, or he had Murphy too. He had like a little stable forming. That makes more sense. But now, I mean, his entire gimmick is like this guy with the most eclectic fashion sense ever. By the way, he looks ridiculous. I know plenty of wrestlers in the past have looked ridiculous, but like, dude, he comes out in these giant boots and like women's tops and all this stuff. There's just no gimmick there. His entire thing is like, hey, I'm here. I'm gonna make gestures as I go to the ring, and then I'm gonna stand there and you guys chant for me. Which I guess that's worked for what it is, but in terms of pure gimmick itself, this is at a dead end, right? I mean, guys, before he really went to the song change and the whole chant happened, I don't even remember, was he a heel or a face? I don't remember. I have no idea because it's been so lackluster for a while now. And I understand why you put the title on a guy like him because he's reliable, he's so good in the ring, right? He can work with anybody. But beyond that, right, I mean, like, the whole new aura of the title has worn off now. Has this run really done anything? I mean, the title was made in the first place as a consolation prize. I know a lot of you guys don't like hearing that, even though it's extremely true. They were like, hey, look, Roman's got the two belts. We consolidated those into one belt that's completely hideous, the piss-colored belt. I can't stand that thing. I cannot believe that's what they came up with. So yeah, here's Roman's got two belts, now he's got one. We need another one because Roman's never here. Here you go, have a tournament for it. But who has Seth even been feuding with? Most recently, it's Nakamura, which I guess that program's done. A lot of people were saying they wanted to see Nakamura win. And I will say, at the last match, I think it was at Fastlane, the last pay-per-view they had, I did see that match. I was rooting for Shinsuke at the end. Because it was one of those things where, like, Seth is the face, and, you know, Nakamura is just hitting him with so many things, and they're like, oh, Seth has broken vertebrae in his back, or whatever the, you know, injury angle they're playing up is. And Nakamura is just crushing him. And Seth just kicks out. Then at the end, Seth hits, like, one or two moves, and he wins. And it's like, you know, it's like, okay, come on. You know, it's like the old Super Cena trope. It's like the match MJF had with Samoa Joe at, not Wembley Stadium. The Wimbledon or the tennis one, Arthur Ashe, whatever the heck it is, right? But, you know, it's like MJF's got a neck injury, Samoa Joe just kills him, pile drives him, all this stuff, brainbuster, then MJF keeps kicking out, then he miraculously wins. It's like, I don't know, man. Like, I get that's, like, old school wrestling, but that gets annoying, right? When it's so one-sided, then just bam! Out of nowhere, I won the match. I don't know. I think we're past that in terms of wrestling. Maybe that's just me. Anyway, though, Nakamura matches were fine. I mean, they're not bad. Like, Rollins is not the type of guy that has bad matches, legitimately. He's just too good in the ring for that. Before that, it was Balor. You know, they were teasing Balor's going to get the championship back that he was the first holder of, the Universal, or what, he was the Universal Champion first, and now he's going to get the World Heavyweight. Seth cost him the Universal because he injured his shoulder or whatever. You know, I mean, there's storylines there, but they're not very deep, right? Now, I don't even know who Seth is facing now what? I think Drew McIntyre is positioned, if I'm not mistaken, as his new guy. I can see Drew, like, if they're going to pull the trigger on this prior to WrestleMania or the Rumble or something, I get it. Like, Drew would make sense because, you know, Drew just came back. They're positioning him as a heel, it looks like. Drew's a very good heel if he wants to be. I mean, he can be anything, but he's very intimidating, so that makes sense. This is something else I've said about Rollins, too. You guys, some of you that comment here see me in Jim Cornette's comment section a lot. I waste too much time there, I think. But I said this about Seth. I was like, I just don't think he's good enough of an actor to really be a good face without, like, other moving parts. So do you remember when he was younger and they first turned him? He was the big deal. He was part of the Authority. So he was the young champion. They had all those guys around him protecting him. That worked. He's been a heel before. I think when he beat Cena, was it SummerSlam years ago for the US? He became the double champion. He was also a heel. A lot of wrestlers will tell you, like, being a heel is much easier because anybody can get booed. But actually having the crowd really behind you without bells and whistles is hard. I don't think Seth is just good enough of an actor. Right, without the crazy outfits and the chanting and all this other stuff, even if he's that good in the ring, I just don't know if he has the innate charisma to be a really good babyface that stays over with the crowd for long. And I even see on Twitter, man, some people on Twitter are kind of echoing the sentiment. They're like, I don't know, this is getting kind of boring. And people on, you know, other people respond like, you guys are so impatient, you know, you got to give him time, and you guys always want a long title reign, but then you get sick of it. It's like, I mean, yeah, there's some, you know, wrestling fans are impatient without a doubt in a lot of cases, but I don't know, man. I just don't see this going anywhere. And, you know, we're going into Rumble season, WrestleMania, right? So they might keep it on him for a while. You know, maybe Orton comes back and beats him. Maybe CM Punk comes back at Survivor Series, which, by the way, I think we need to do a Survivor Series live stream here. Because if Punk does come back, that's going to be a cataclysmic event. And you know Tony Khan, I mean, he's already so far off the deep end, but at that point, I mean, that's going to be a movie that we might get to witness together. The official, like, just utter meltdown of, like, Tony Khan might go on the next AEW show and just start roasting CM Punk. And, like, actually crying while he does it. Oh, man, that's going to be fun. But in terms of Seth, man, I don't know. I think it's time to pull the plug on this. I get if they want to extend this out to Rumble or Mania or something. Here's what's interesting, though, because they just positioned LA Knight into a feud with Roman for Crown Jewel. I would expect that to be one-off. I don't see that going on any further. But a number of months ago, people were saying, like, LA Knight should become the world champion because, you know, then Cody can finish the story with Roman. That's a whole other thing. Is Cody actually going to finish the story, or are they going to do the thing where Roman retains and they just... You know, are they really going to go for these really, really lengthy records? I don't know. After last year, you think they would finally close this out, you know, finish this bloodline story, because even now it's a little bit fresher again because Roman's back. If he stays consistently, it's going to get boring again because it's inevitable. It is what it is. We've seen every act they can possibly do at this point. So I'm not entirely sure what their plans are. I guess that's why we watch the stuff in the first place, to see what actually happens. But I don't know, man. Seth at this point, he's done what he's needed to do with the belt, right? Like, he provided a valid face for it. He's had decent matches with it. But that title's already stale to me, right? Like, I don't care, you know, oh, Seth Rollins, the World Heavyweight Champion. I'm like, okay. You know, it's funny, man. Like, Gunther as the Intercontinental Champion is much more compelling than Seth is as the World Heavyweight Champion. I mean, Gunther right now is even more compelling as a champion than Roman, because Roman's just so inconsistently there now. You know, there's all these things going into it, but let me know what you guys think down below. Is it more on the booking? Is it more on Seth's acting skills and the fact that he's just not like an organic babyface character? He needs all these crutches for the fans to really cheer for him. Because we've seen him in the past as a heel. He can do well. He can generate heat. He can put other guys over. But as like a lovable babyface, the crowd is truly behind. Not just kind of behind as in like, oh, okay, that was a good match and, you know, the song is cool. I'm talking they're really dying to see him. Like, when LA Knight comes out, they're dying to see him. I don't think Seth has it like that, at least not right now. So let me know what you think down below, but I think it's time to pull the plug on this Rollins World Heavyweight Championship thing.